morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you're joining in from. Welcome to an incredible month with the DCI, where we are celebrating schools and classrooms and school communities that are using technology for good. And I'm Mary Alice Curran. I am located right now in Connecticut. If you are joining us live, please jump into the comment section. Let us know where you're joining in from. I am so happy to be side by side with my colleague.
Hola, soy Eugenia Tamés. I'm from Monterrey, Mexico, and I'm super excited about this special session. Estoy muy emocionada de que esta sesión se esté llevando a cabo porque es la ciudadanía digital llevada a la acción desde un evento en particular que sucedió hace poco con un jugador de fútbol americano y que en base a eso, este fabuloso grupo de alumnos llevó a la acción y ahora quiere tener en práctica la manera de cómo dar a cabo CPR en cualquier lugar de donde estés.
You know what happened this fall with the Buffalo Bills, and I want you to know I'm representing, even though I'm in Connecticut and I grew up in New England, I am representing because the whole world stood still during that Buffalo Bills game with Damar Hamlin when he received CPR right there on the field. And it was prayers up for Damar. And when we think about working with school communities, what Lakeshore Central, consistently does is it's a community approach. So as a community, Buffalo, that was right there. And what are you doing? They have students solving a real problem, teaching CPR, making it globally accessible. And we are so proud because this is a classroom. Mr. Connors, this is a classroom for 5 years that we've been able to celebrate. And with no further ado, we want to bring on Mr. Connors and his leadership team. And we're going to go behind the scenes, help with the comment sections. We are so excited to learn with you and learn with your students as you inspire all of us to really make a difference in our community. So thank you so much for giving us this honor to celebrate you and your students today.
Well, thank you so much for having us. And we hope this wide pan view works so you can see the kids behind me. And I'll move in just a little bit. My name is Jeff Connors, as Mary Alice said, and I am a very proud teacher at Lakeshore Central High School. And for our visitors all over the world, we're just about 30 minutes south of Buffalo, New York, and we're about actually 7 hours away from New York City. So it's two ends of the earth that comes to New York. We touch Lake Erie, the Great Lakes, so that's why we are called Lakeshore. And about 5-6 years ago, as Mary Alice said, because of our tech integrators, Mike and Deanne, they brought this heck of a personality named Mary Alice Curran to my life and our lives, and we've never been the same. And we're so glad we get to join you today. So we want to first say thank you for including us always in any project or activity that you do to incorporate and include Lakeshore Central. It makes us better. Yes, we're doing a great service for our community, but we're doing this because of the motivation, the inspiration, and the leadership we see from you. And we're so appreciative that you include us. We're here today to talk to you guys about CPR. We know that CPR is an important skill, but after what happened locally with the Buffalo Bills on that fateful Sunday in January, for not just Buffalo fans, but anybody who was watching the game and anybody who heard about it afterwards, we just knew that there was going to be a project coming up that we wanted to give some kind of tech integration when Mary Alice came to my classroom in November, but we really didn't know what. And sadly, this almost terrible, scary experience kind of gave ideas for Mrs. Pulling and I to think about the importance of doing CPR, but not just for coaches and teachers. But why can't everybody learn CPR, and not just learn it, but using technology for good, like you said, using technology so that anybody who is streamed live that has access to our technology can actually see how to do CPR. What is an AED machine? What are some success stories beyond Damar Hamlin? What are some other real life success stories from people in our world outside of the USA? Learning about trauma, that it's okay to say, you know what, I gave CPR or I received CPR and I'm having some PTSD. How could you not? As a person who's given CPR twice in my lifetime, I know I was bothered and disturbed and could not sleep because somebody's life, as they're going to tell you, is in your hands. And for people who have received CPR, someone basically saved your life. So it's okay to understand. And we're using social media, and we're using technology to show that there's resources out there if you do have trauma. And finally, we want to make sure all of our guests who are just tuning in know who Damar Hamlin, what the Damar Hamlin Challenge is, and what it involves. We encourage everybody watching today to join us. And when you leave today's session, to learn CPR, watch our videos, learn ways, maybe learn local areas in your communities where you can learn in person CPR. But if not, you can always use our technology. But who better to do this than my leadership class? So behind me are my leadership students, and this is a program that for our friends watching, I'm sure most of your schools probably had a student government. So at Lakeshore, we have a student government, but also in a class, and it's called Leadership in Action. And these students are sophomores, juniors, and seniors behind me. And all year long, these students work to better our community, better our school district. They plan fun things like homecoming, which is this weekend, our spring homecoming, but they also plan more important events that really, like CPR, and that really tie in the community, that bring in the community to our school district, to our high school. And after COVID, this is so important because we had those years, as you know, where we couldn't do that. So now we're back and we're involved. These students, they're in the class. They know that a huge part of their homework is service and teaching others about service and leadership and being good leaders. And one of the best ways we can lead right now, after what we've seen, is to teach others the importance of CPR. Okay, all right, I'm going to keep on moving. So we have basically 4 groups behind me that have been broken up. And also one thing I want to add and share is that yesterday, half of my class, about 10 of them, presented at a captain's clinic. So we have sports season right now. I'm a track coach, and we have a number of spring sports in session. And we have these things called AED machines that a lot of students, unless they really take health or they've already taken health, they don't necessarily know what this is. And we realized there was a need to educate our captains. Why the captains? The captains are the leaders. The captains are chosen by the coaches and the athletes to be the leaders for softball, lacrosse, track, boys tennis, you name it. So we have this clinic. Anyone was invited to come. Coaches, captains, administration, teachers were welcome to come, and they got to learn the basics. And the best part was we invited our health teacher, Roseanne Schaller, who teaches every student in this school health and CPR. And also in New York State, we're very lucky. Every public high school has to have its own trainer. So we have a very talented and dedicated trainer by the name of Amy Cameron, who's been here for 19 years. And she was there. Our 2 experts in CPR and wellness came. And what you're seeing now are pictures of yesterday's session. You can tell we had a great turnout. Our students did a great job showing CPR, talking about cardiac arrest. You'll see they're wearing their black leadership t-shirts. We had people actually performing CPR to teach them the tricks and the tips to know so that when the time comes, you're prepared. And then when that was done, we moved on to the topics we're going to talk about: trauma, Damar Hamlin, and some success stories. So it was a great event. Now the other half of the class, starting with today, is the HowTo Group. And today we have a junior and a senior. We have Malia and Sydney, who are behind me, and I'll get out of their view in a second. They're going to talk about why they chose to make a video, the purpose of the video, what CCC, check, call, care, really means. And then I'll have Sydney afterwards, Amelia, talk about the other video and actually a visual of doing CPR if it's deemed necessary. So this is the HowTo Group. I welcome Amelia and Sydney.
Hi guys, my name is Sydney. I'm Malia. And we created 2 videos just to show the world the importance of knowing the signs of CPR and also how to digitally spread the awareness of CPR.
And we created the 3 C's. We came up with the 3 C's to show people. It's just it's check, call, care. It's a easy to remember saying for if you're ever in the situation where you have to give CPR, someone is unconscious. It's check your surroundings, make sure you call for help, and then if needed, you give CPR to the victim.
And then the second video that we created was a template of a QR code that I posted around the school. Me and Malia both posted around the school, and it's used to show students how to perform CPR, but it also just goes through the CCC in more of a detailed way.
And we could share that video now with you if we'll pull up that screen again. And I'm going to back out here. And I believe here's one of them.
Hi everyone, I'm at Lakeshore Senior High School, and to teach everyone the CCCs, we put posters all over the high school, and then we had to do a QR code, and this is how we're going to digitally teach people the 3 Cs. So how to do a QR code, you just open up your camera and go to photo, and then you just place it over and then hit the link, and then it brings you to a video.
And the demo.
Hi everyone, my name is Cindy, and I'm here to teach you the 3 C's of how to do CPR whenever you have to give it. So the first C is check. Check your surroundings and make sure yourself and the patient are safe. The second C is call. Call 911 and make sure an ambulance or help is on the way. And then the third C is CPR and how to do CPR.
All right.
All right. Okay. And we know for time, if we had more time, we'd actually go through, but on our resource and our videos, you can watch them and you'll see yesterday's presenters, Elizabeth and Emma, if you want to wave your hands. They actually have a tutorial that's also going to be shared that actually shows how to conduct CPR. And if CPR is not working and you need some more current, you need some more help to get the heart started, how to use this AED. And I hope, I'm assuming that most of our guests, that in your schools, in your communities, you have these. I'm hoping it's not just an American thing, because if not, something that could be our next project is to get these out there. But when used, when it comes to an AED or CPR, if your option is to do nothing, even if you don't know exactly under pressure what you're doing, it's still better, because if you do nothing, the person's going to die most likely. And I know that's blunt and scary, but as we heard yesterday from our health teacher, doing something versus just standing. And when you get to the AED machine, this, when you open it up, teaches you all the steps. And again, this has just been using technology for 20 years. This literally has a recording. It's got a battery inside that never dies that tells you all the steps. So you can use it from anyone from a young child to an adult. So when you're panicked and you're nervous, this walks you through the steps. But more how-to was given there. Our next part of our presentation was to, not just focus on the scary aspect of whether you need CPR. The next aspect was our success stories group. And these people in this group, and we have Tiana and Alex who are back here. You want to wave? I'm going to have them come up in a moment. They're going to talk to you about when CPR is done, what are some of the success stories that we've seen. And then we have a very moving video that was created by them along with Angelina and Sam yesterday that shows not only Damar's success story, but other people, including a man just working out in a gym, all because another man who was on a treadmill knew the basics of CPR. He was able to save his life. So I'm going to turn it over to, come on down, Alex and Tiana to talk about some of the success stories they know, why it's important to hear success stories.
Hi, I'm Alex, and I'm Tiana. And success stories that kind of like highlights, the video highlights, like other people, like, I don't know, like in any situation, there's like a chance.
Got it.
Like, I don't know, like in any situation you can be in, you need to know CPR because you never know what can happen. Like there's a video in the gym where this guy just
Yeah, we're going to play the video
went
for you.
down. Yeah.
Yeah. You guys ready for the video? This is the video that they're referencing that they had put together for us today.
We were vacationing in New York City, and within about 5 minutes of getting into the restaurant, my parents said they looked over and they thought I was having a seizure. They were hitting me on the face. I was unresponsive. 2 doctors, they came over and they detected I had no pulse. They immediately started CPR and they brought my pulse back. Paramedics came in. They obviously noticed I was in distress, and they placed an AED on me as well and shocked my heart back into rhythm. All I remember is hearing, "Brittany, Brittany, we love you. We love you. Do not leave us." I was placed in an induced coma. When they woke me up, I was very confused, and they were telling me that I went into cardiac arrest 2 nights ago. The doctor told me I had to get an implantable pacemaker and defibrillator, and I just was in disbelief because I was 24. I was doing everything that they tell you to do at that young age to be healthy and live a healthy lifestyle. So I think it was just like the first 2 months or so, I kind of had like a little bit of depression. But after that, I was like, you know what, I survived. And I knew right then and there that I had to make it my mission to spread the awareness of heart disease and how important CPR really is.
Anytime fitness, a man, he had exercise and he just collapsed.
A woman in the gym called 911 while Gagnon started CPR and continued compressions for 3 minutes until paramedics arrived.
If it wasn't for them, we wouldn't be able to do our jobs, which is the biggest step in the chain of survival. Somebody else starting CPR early and early access to 911.
Kuhn was rushed to the hospital and found out he had sudden cardiac arrest after a heart arrhythmia, and got to meet the people who came to his aid, including Tim Gagnon, whose CPR skills from a class he took 10 years ago made a life-changing difference that day.
It was hard holding back tears. It was extremely emotional to meet the guy that saved my life.
It's pretty incredible. It is. I never thought I'd have to use it, but knowing that I did and it actually was the outcome, well worth everything.
Your mind when you think about Denny. I owe Denny my life, literally. And just, he loved to say he was just doing his job, but which is true. That night he was literally the savior of my life. Administrate CPR on me. Like he would say, he was just doing his job. But if it wasn't for someone showing up that day with a clear mind and whatever's going on in their personal life, just to put it aside and just to be present in the moment to actually be able to do the job correctly, that's something I'm truly thankful for.
I want to go back just to Tiana, our other young lady up here that's part of this group. Tiana, when watching these videos, why do you think it's important for young people, anyone in our community watching the video today, why do you think it's important that people see these success stories, hear these stories? Why is that important, you think, that we hear the success stories?
Just because you don't know, like, when it will happen, where it will happen, it can happen anytime and anywhere.
And you heard, Tiana, too, like some of these people, that one man at the gym, he learned it 10 years earlier. He didn't remember everything, but because he remembered something, he saved that man's life. So I guess even watching us today, if you take a little bit from our videos, from my students here, if you don't remember everything, it's still something is better than nothing. And instead of just sitting back because of what they did with Damar, the young man with the young lady who they thought was having a seizure, all those people are alive because of CPR. All right, thank you. We're gonna go on to our next group. Our next group is to talk about how, as you can tell, even by watching the people in the video, the young lady kind of had to fight back tears. It can be very traumatic, right, guys, to go through. Hopefully no one in this room will ever have to need it or give it. But statistically, out of the 22 students I have, most likely 2 of you will have to do it before you're 30 years old. And both mine happened while coaching track right here at Lake Shore not too long ago. And I use skills that I learned because I was a coach and from my high school classes that you don't think you'll remember, you'll panic. But in the moment, that stuff comes back to you. And the knowledge, the important knowledge you need to know is there. But anyway, with that, we know that there's some trauma. And afterwards, a person may experience some trauma because whether you received it or because you are the person that gave it. And that can be really hard. One, it's okay. How could you not have some PTSD? And 2, we want to share some resources. So over here, I'm going to pull up Hannah. It's Hannah. Hannah Del Prince is a sophomore. And Hannah's group did some work talking about type of post-traumatic stress and trauma from CPR, and also some quotes from our own athletic trainer.
Okay. CPR can both cause trauma for the person who receives CPR and the person who performs it, various amounts like PTSD. Just thinking about it, you have someone's life in your hands, and if you're the one performing CPR, similar, if you are the one receiving CPR, it is understood that you too may experience some trauma, knowing you almost could have passed away. And some helpful resources for people with post-CPR, resources such as hashtag Same Here Global is a helpful way to learn how to recover from the trauma people may experience from CPR. people such as our Amy Cameron, our athletic trainer, shared their thoughts about the importance of CPR and the PTSD that can follow. Victims and people trying to resuscitate victims should talk about their feelings and mental health that comes with the traumatic experience given and having CPR.
Hannah, why do you think, like with this same here global, why do you think it's important? Now, almost all these students use social media for good and for their own personal reasons for good. Why do you think it's important, Hannah, as a student, as a person who uses social media? Why do you think it's helpful for people to go on social media and talk to and hear from other people who experience the same trauma?
I think it's important because people should know like how to
Sorry.
Oh, it's okay.
I think it's good to know that you're not alone, I guess is what I'm saying.
Yes, you're not alone. Yeah, that's what, yeah.
And that there's other people who might be feeling the same kind of feelings, and it's okay. It's okay not to be okay, right? This video that Hannah, we're just going to introduce here, is actually one of our students' aunts, who's a Lakeshore graduate, who's now a grown adult. Mrs. Pulliam might have had JoJo back in the day. She's now a registered nurse. You're going to hear in her testimony, we don't have to play the whole thing. It's a couple minutes long, but if we could show just a minute of it, we want you to just hear from her what it's like as a registered nurse in New York State, what it's like when you're the person giving CPR.
Okay, I think I have given CPR a good 10 or 12 times within the past year that I've been a nurse. It's hard, especially first time. The first code that I was in, I didn't actually participate. I stood in the corner and watched everything, all the chaos, all the commotion, and it was a lot to take in. Emotionally, you can't let yourself see them as someone's mom or dad or brother or son. You have to just see them as patient in room 24 and just do the best that you can. Otherwise, you will get really emotionally tied up into every patient. It affected me pretty hard at first. Some affect me more than others. Even still, it all depends on how much I know about the patient and how close I've gotten with them, or like if they remind me of someone that I know. When family is in the room and they see you coding or giving CPR to their loved one, it's extremely hard to see them breaking down, freaking out in the corner as you are trying to save someone's life. The younger you are as a person getting CPR, the better of the outcome, the more your body can handle it and sustain it. The older or the more like smaller or fragile or bony, like the tiny little grandma, you will hear and feel their ribs crack underneath your hands as you compress their heart. You have to keep going. That broken rib is not going to kill them. Their heart stopping is what's going to kill them. That is extremely gross to feel. And sometimes they just keep cracking and we just have to keep going.
All right, so we talked about, the how-to for CPR. We talked about some success stories. The tone, even you can tell of the classroom here, just from that video, the seriousness of CPR, but also the importance of giving it, even when at times you feel like you're hurting the person. It's hard to watch. It's a loved one. It's very emotional. Watching our former student talk about it, it almost chokes me up because I can hear her tone and sense how serious and hard that was. But I'm also so proud that she's a certified nurse who can actually give CPR. We need more people like that. So the last part of our presentation we want to talk about is we're really encouraged this whole presentation, and that was a young man named DeMar Hamlin, who was a Buffalo Bill, who many of us were watching a typical Sunday night game, ready for us to kick butt and do well, when all of a sudden there was commotion and then there was silence, and there was a lot of unanswered questions, and people stood by their TVs not wondering what was happening. And for a while, most of the fans will agree, it looked terrible. We felt the worst, and we didn't have any answers. Even the sports anchors on the TV, they were filling with time and just talking with, basic conversation because they had to fill the time, and they didn't know what to say, and they were fighting back tears. But we thought this could be a pivotal point to connect a larger global community for all those, whether you're a Bills fan or not, just about the importance of CPR. So we thought we'd explain. I got my Max behind me, Delaney, and they're going to talk about what is this DEMAR challenge that has taken over not only Buffalo, but has taken over the world, and how literally schools across the world since this almost tragedy have now increased. Sometimes, as you know, it takes terrible things to make some change. And in this almost terrible situation, there's a lot of CPR going on just in Buffalo, and I'm sure in your neck of the woods too. So over here we have Max and Delaney.
Hi, I'm Max.
I'm Delaney.
And today, around the school, we set up because on January 2nd, DeMar Hamlin was going to tackle T. Higgins, a receiver on the Bengals, and he fell and tried to get back up, and he stumbled and fell again. He ended up going into cardiac arrest, and no one knew what was going on. No one knew anything until about 2 or 3 days later what actually happened. So then people started going on his foundation for Chasing Millions, which is like an organization he runs to help awareness for kids. And it made over like $7 million in like a day. And then once that was done, once he was better, about like a month or two later, he wanted to like make some videos and teach people like the importance of learning CPR. So if you go to heart.org, which we hung up posters around the school, it has a QR code. It has a QR code that if you scan it, it'll take you right to the website on heart.org, and it'll show you a video that DeMar Hamlin made about teaching CPR. It's only about 2 minutes long, and he gives you 3 easy steps, which is watch the video, donate if you can, and then post a picture with your friends and tag #3forheart.
And then Delaney, you want to talk a little about what we did to kind of have some fun at the end of our presentation yesterday with our scavenger hunt?
Yesterday we had a scavenger hunt for the people who came to the CPR clinic, and you had to go around the school and find the AEDs, and there's 5 located in our school, and there was steps to lead you to the next one, just to help people learn where to find them in case of emergency.
What do you think the purpose was? I mean, obviously we wanted to have some fun. We wanted the kids to run around after watching such a serious presentation to kind of have some fun. We used technology. We used the QR codes, which Mrs. Pulling will tell you I would have not known how to even use like last year at all. So just my technology integration, because of my connection to you guys, has been amazing. And working with young people obviously will keep you in the loop. But how we use technology to take CPR to the next level has been amazing. Delaney, why do you think it's important that every Lakeshore student and person there knows that we had 5 of these in our building and where they are?
So that in case of emergency, everybody can go get in, maybe save a life if you know how to use it, and it'll direct you on how to help somebody.
But isn't that crazy that we put that much responsibility on you captains and students? Like, think about it. If I'm with an athlete and I have to give CPR, I can't leave my athlete. You running to find that closest AED is so important, because that's in the line of carry. Of course, we're going to call 911, but that may take a couple moments for them to get there. Or Amy, what if Amy's at baseball or lacrosse? Having students know where these are could really be the difference in life or death. And I want you guys to really think about that. Aside from this being a project, you understand that you knowing where this is could be the difference in saving someone's life. Even your coach, we might go down, and you running to get this could save my life, could save anyone's life. And that's really important to understand. This goes beyond just a graded project or even for our global community. But right here at Lakeshore, this last part, it was fun, but it was also so important that they knew that. And these guys did a great job with it. Yeah, sure. I know Mr. Drezik had a close-up on our page of these. Anybody who attended our clinic got a bracelet to show that they took the Lakeshore Challenge, the DeMar Challenge. We call it the Lakeshore Challenge too. And just to recognize with pride, and also for the rest of the people in the school, they can see that it's a sign that you attended, that you know something about PCI. We know these are kids. These are high school students. I know they're not registered nurses or doctors or coaches, but as long as they know something, and by the way, you all do. They've had a couple presentations. You had to do it. You know enough about CPR that I'd be confident if you had to help me, and that's a great thing to know. So it went beyond just, learning the basics and doing this project. This took our class to a whole different level. And I know we can all probably share that We learned a lot about the people who give CPR, why you should give CPR, how to give CPR, and then finally that it's okay to, after you give it, or even before you give it. How many of you are a little scared about the thought of giving CPR? Who's a little scared? I am too. And that's okay. It's okay to not be okay about this. And that's what we learned. So those were the 4 groups. That was our basic clinic. I don't know if this time we want to go to questions or comments or.
I mean, I don't know how long the video is for the how-to. You this one?
Shall we? You sure we can show that?
How long is it?
Hope you guys.
49 seconds.
Oh, okay, perfect. Yep, we have one more video that we'd like to show just so that, yep, here we go.
All right. Once there's an AED nearby, all you have to do is turn it on, and then it gives you further
Tear
directions.
open package and remove pads.
Tear open package, remove pads.
Tear open
Put
package
one
and remove pads.
on the
Peel one
upper
pad from
right
plastic liner.
chest, and one on the
Peel
lower
one
left.
pad from plastic.
Once the pads are placed on the person, this is going to tell you to stand clear because it's going to shock them. So you're going to move 5 to 6 feet away from the person while it shocks them. After the first shock, the machine's going to tell you to do compressions for 2 minutes. Once the 2 minutes is up, the machine's going to tell you to stand clear from the patient because it's going to receive another shock.
I know that your bell is going to ring on your end. I don't know what our time, Mr. Connors, like how, but that, I just want you to know the comment section has been so, like, people are thoroughly engaged. And one thing that we definitely want to know is that even though you've said this, that it's, more than just a project, will these students continue to want to teach others? Because that is the powerful part of all of this. And that you broke down your classroom walls today and you invited the outside world to come and learn with you. So this is how you make a positive impact in your community. And we're just so proud to cheer you on. But the big question, I guess, is this something that you'll continue to do beyond this project, beyond this class?
Well, we saw yesterday that, we only targeted a small amount of students because it was the first time. We definitely think that, at our school, you don't take health until your junior, senior year, and that may be too late. So all the people that were involved in yesterday and the students would agree that, yes, these guys have the basics of CPR, and if they had to teach the basics, they could. But as a school community, we want to do more. We want to use technology. We want to use our relations to go ahead and connect other people with the skills we've learned, do more with more students. And why can't our elementary kids learn the basics? Why can't the middle school? And then why can't we go beyond Lakeshore, our district? Why can't we challenge other schools by watching our resources to do the same thing?
I think that's fantastic. I feel like having your leadership students going down to the elementary school or the middle school, it's like that ripple effect, right? And that's where you continue to make such a positive impact. And the comments, were you able to see the comments throughout your session?
I can't wait to see. I kind of forgot about that part. I'll be honest. I think these guys, because of where we are, we can't really see them, but I'm sure Mr. Jezik will share.
Okay. Because if we show them right now, can you see them? Or no?
Those are ours.
Oh.
They've been popping up.
You're right here, yeah.
Yeah, I don't know if you can see them, but but just wonderful. So much wonderful engagement. And I know your bell's ringing. This was such a treat. Thank you for teaching us, inspiring us, empowering us.
Thank you so much. Thanks, everybody. Thanks for joining in.
Thank you so much for sharing.
Thank you.
Take care. We'll see everyone later.
Thank you. 3 for heart, I think is that hashtag for tomorrow, right?
That's right.
3 for heart, 3 for heart. That was wonderful. Thank you so much. That was, I have to say, I haven't turned this off live because to see a classroom, live. Classroom, this is just wonderful.
They need to go.
I know they need to go, but this was really, thank you, Lakeshore Central, for always modeling, what it looks like for a school community to identify a real problem, solve it, put it into action, and then use tech for good to inspire and empower others. So this was a wonderful, wonderful session for our Global Student Showcase. Anybody that's joined us, we hope that you'll continue to join us throughout the month as we just celebrate classrooms and schools and school communities around the world. So thank you.
Thank you for joining.
Michael Trezek, can you hear us or no? You and Deanne?
Yeah, I can hear you.